So as we find this yin and yang practice, the yin practice being these slow, grounded holds. So the idea behind yin is that we are shifting away from activating in the muscles, and we're trying to get more strength and opening into the joints. And so we're purposely stressing, I want to use that term lightly, but stressing the joints, so that then the benefits of the pose is when you come out and you get this rush of relief and fresh oxygenated blood back into that joint. So it's, in theory, it's trying to also stimulate some of the meridians in the body, and so you may feel some things come up. Good, hopefully. So the idea is that we're finding the edge of the movement. So when we first get into a yin hold, it's a lot of times they're poses that you may be familiar in with vinyasa. And if you get into the pose to the same degree that you would get into it in a vinyasa class, you're going to find it's really hard to hold at that stillness. And that's kind of the second portion of yin, is stillness. And so even if you can get into a pigeon pose in a vinyasa class that maybe you only hold for 30 seconds or a minute, and you can get the leg fully parallel to the front, and you can fold all the way over, that's not going to be sustainable in the yin version. So back way out of where you would normally go, just where you're starting to feel that edge of sensation. And then if the pose invites you to come deeper, maybe a minute in, you can do so. I will be timing, much like I did on our restorative class. It's just good if we can keep things even on the timing. So we have different names for the yin poses. I know some of them, not all of them. So I'll try to use those when possible. And that way it kind of keeps your mind out of what you think the pose looks like in your vinyasa practice. So we'll do that for just the first several poses. If you're not used to longer holds, they are grounded, so you shouldn't be feeling any pain. You may just be feeling some additional sensation. And then we'll do some slow flow warming of the body after. So let's get started. We're going to start all the way on our backs. So we'll find a few moments here. If you want, for the first little integration and grounding of our class, you could place a blanket underneath the knees if that feels good to you. We're just going to lay all the way back on our backs and come into this space. Hands can rest on the belly or open wide. We'll just be here for about 2 minutes. So allow some space to come into the mind. Checking in with the breath. Noticing the ground holding you up. Relax that space between the eyebrows. So in some of our longer holds, I'll try to find and hold silence for you. And I'll let you know when we're going to move to the next pose. So just finding your version of Shavasana here. Where can you let the muscles release? Settling into this idea of slowing down. Giving our systems a chance to rest and digest, taking us out of that fight or flight mode that we spend so much of our days in. Just because we are resting doesn't mean that we're not getting immense benefits from our practice. So we'll move into our first yin pose. I don't know if this is an official pose, but we call it banana asana, which means we're just going to make ourselves look like a little banana. So we're going to drag the heels over to the right corner of the mat. And then option to cross the left ankle over. So you're finding the legs off to an angle, and then you can scooch the top half of the body also over to the right. Take the arms overhead and allow the hands to stack. So the shoulders are rounded. We're keeping both glutes grounded to the ground. Shoulders and arms rest, opening up into the side body here. If you notice the muscles trying to do any work, see if you can release and just let gravity and the pose do the work. Finding a nice easy breath. Trying to find that stillness. So we first try to find that edge where we're feeling sensation, but it's something that is sustainable. And then we're working the idea of stillness. Trying to commit to where we land in the pose. As long as we're not feeling pain. And we have to work with time. So being in a pose for just 15 or 30 seconds when we're working the yin side, the joint side, it's not going to be enough to do the work. So allow this time to pass. So a lot of the benefit of yin comes in the releasing of the pose. But know that you are putting the work in now to feel those benefits. Take a few more rounds of breath here. Noticing that space in the left side body. Finding our little banana shape. Big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. Slowly, gently starting to move back to center. Taking a moment, maybe noticing some sensation on the left side of the body. And then we'll gradually move to the other side. So we'll drag the heels over to the left, maybe off of the left side of the mat. Option to stack the ankles. I think this is where a lot of the sensation comes into the yin version. So stack the right ankle over the left and then drag the shoulders and the arms overhead also over to the left. So making this nice C curve in the body. Find that edge and then settle in. Starting to work that stillness and time. Letting go of anywhere where the muscles might be trying to activate or hang on. Where can you find ease, even if maybe there's just a tiny bit of discomfort? Check back in with the breath. In our yin practice, we aren't trying to find any specific breath, just finding nice, easy, comfortable flow of breath in and out. Another round of breath or two. Slowly, gradually come back into center. Rest here, notice sensation, maybe some warmth and space. We'll slowly start to plant soles of the feet on the earth just in order to rise up. So we'll take our butterfly pose, soles of the feet together, knees come wide. So we're finding our way up to a seat, or you can take this on your back, your choice. We'll just continue to work here. So either take your butterfly pose, soles of the feet together, knees wide. You can stay reclined on the back if that feels better, or you can find this folded over version. So inhale up tall, and then just start to hinge forward. So you're not going to go as far as you could. It's a matter of finding that edge and then holding. So if you did have props and you wanted a place to rest the head because that would feel better to you, that is an option. And make sure everything still feels stacked and even. Finding a place where the gaze is neutral enough that the head can rest, or maybe you can get the head to the hands. It's not about how deep you can get in this pose. It's about just finding the time and the stillness. Usually takes at least a minute or two, sometimes more, for the muscles to really let go, trying to do their work. So notice if partway through this hold you start to feel a sensation that maybe it's inviting you a little deeper, or that the muscles have started to release. Check in with the breath. Check in with where you are in the pose. sure you're not bringing any additional strain or stress into the shoulders or the neck. Finding a place to let that be heavy. Another few rounds of breath. Slowly start to rise up out of this fold. Allow the legs to just settle in stillness first. And then start to pull the knees back together. You can take the hands back behind you and just find a little bit of gentle movement. Just a little rock side to side. So in our yin posture, sometimes it's nice to alternate being forward and back. So we'll come back to our backs. Slowly lowering. Take both soles of the feet to the earth. So we're going to do a version of cat pulling its tail again that we sometimes do at the end of our vinyasa classes. So drop the right knee out. So it's the right leg's finding that half bound angle or something similar. Left hand starts to reach for the toes. So you're taking this right foot and shooting it through the hole that you've created with the left leg. So the right leg is starting to become parallel to the mat. So even if you can't catch the toes, if you can start to parallel the quad towards the long edge of the mat, allow the shoulders to release and relax. Where can you let go in the muscles? Maybe take a gentler hold of the toes if you're straining to keep a hold of them. Start to let the pose settle. Working that effort of stillness. Unless you come into resisting the urge to shift or fidget. Allowing the mind to slow down as well. Another round or two of breath. Slowly start to release the hold of the toes. Allowing that leg to release, knees point up. We'll take it to the other side without much adjusting in between, so allow the left knee to fall out wide. Start to wiggle those toes into that opening you have in the right knee, and reach for the left toes with the right hand. Allow the left quad to start to become parallel to the long edge of the mat or working towards it. Settle in. Where can you melt and release a little more? A few more rounds of breath. Slowly start to release. Full soles of the feet back to the earth. Allow everything to settle for a round of breath. We'll come into our final yin pose of this first portion of practice. So start to roll up. We're going to find our way into a child's pose here. So a couple of options. It may feel nice to pad underneath the knees, or it may also feel nice to take this blanket on top of the heels so that there's a little bit of space and you're giving yourself a little boost for the hips. So walk the arms out, melt the head down. Find a version, maybe not the deepest version you can find, so that you can find some sustained stillness here. So the arms are resting, they're not reaching. Allow the head to rest on the mat. As you notice sensations start to come up in the body, find the breath. And know those sensations will likely weaken and soften as you settle in. Allowing that stillness. Another few rounds of breath here. Being very gentle as you come out, starting to drag one hand back towards the shoulders, one at a time. Rest here. When you feel some of that sensation settle, gently, gently starting to press yourself back up to a seat. Taking as much time as you need. Eventually sitting back on the heels, roll the shoulders down and back just nice and gently. We'll start to do some gentle movement, that yang side of the practice, to round out. Roll the shoulders forward. Just finding some gentle movement here. Turn to face you. We'll do a little bit of movement to open up the fronts of the feet. I know we were kind of sitting back on them. So I'm sitting back on the heels. I'm going to take the hands back behind me, move some things out of the way, and then lift the knees. So we're just stretching out the front of the feet. And then drop the knees back down, come forward. We'll do that a few times. Just drop the hands back. Maybe you can drop the head back if there's space. It doesn't feel great in my neck to do that, but option if it feels okay for you. And come forward and release. We'll do that 2 more times. Rock back, lift the knees, so you're stretching out the front side of the feet. And release. Last time. Awesome, come back. Find your way to tabletop. We're going to sit back on the toes just for a round of breath. So tuck the toes, sit back on the heels, round of breath or 2. Just stretch the feet out the other way. And then when you're ready, we'll come to hands and knees. Find our tabletop. So knees hip distance, hands spread nice and wide, shake the hips side to side. Find some circles circling the hips. And finding some cat-cows. Drop the belly, lift the gaze as you inhale. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, press the mat away. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Take a few more with your breath. Just bringing movement back into the body, starting to activate and warm the muscles. We'll walk it out, find puppy pose. Walk the fingertips forward, melt the heart and the chin down. Just a few rounds of breath. Maybe the forehead comes towards the mat, or maybe you need to hover. Slide through on the belly, so shoot the legs straight out behind you. Drop the hips down. Sphinx pose, 2 rounds of breath. And then drop down, hands come underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes. You can either go through table or we're going to come all the way back to down dog, your choice. We'll all meet in our down dog. Walk your dog out, bend one knee then the other, finding some movement here. And find some stillness in your down dog. Little bend in the knees. Press the chest towards the thighs. We're going to roll forward, find a plank pose. Option to drop to the knees, or option to just roll through up dog and down dog. So flip the toes, drop the hips, and then tuck the toes, lift the hips. So you can take that from the knees. We'll do it 2 more times, or just take it up dog to down dog. So roll forward to plank, stack shoulders over wrist, untuck the toes, find your up dog, drop the hips, tuck the toes back, press and back down dog. Last time. Find your way back to your down dog and settle. Big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. Slowly walk your way to the front. Find a forward fold, head and neck are heavy. Hands can come to elbows and find a little sway, ragdoll. Halfway lift, press the palms into the shins and the thighs. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, take it overhead. Fingertips touch. Exhale, the hands to heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Plant the hands, your choice to step it back to plank. Maybe you find that same up dog, down dog transition if it feels good. You can keep the toes tucked as an option, or find your little version of your flow, knees down, drop the chest between the thighs, your choice. Or skip it all together and just meet us in down dog. Big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. Step to the front. Halfway lift. Fold. Root down, rise up, take it overhead. Hands come to heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Palm the mat, step back. Option to find plank to up dog to down dog or your own little flow. Last time we'll hop to the front, meet in our forward fold and hang out in our ragdoll. Feet hip distance apart, sway a little side to side. And then drop the hands towards the ground. Maybe they reach, maybe they don't. But keep a nice bend in the knees, maybe you have some more space. Then walk the hands over to the left. Find a little stretch here. So both hands on the outside of the left foot. Walk it back through center. Then walk it over to the right. Back through center. We'll find another little twist here. So bend into the right knee. Left hand plants, right arm lifts, find a twist. So left leg is straight. And then switch. So bend into the left knee. Right leg is straight, right hand down. Left arm lifts, open. Come back to neutral, shake it out. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold, exhale, root down, rise up, take it overhead, fingertips touch. Exhale, the hands to heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Plant the hands. We're gonna meet into our high plank. And then drop to the knees, untuck the toes. Find yourself all the way to the belly. Then we'll reach the arms out wide. We're gonna find a little bit of a shoulder opener here. Arms come into a T. We're gonna roll towards the right. So I think on the screen it's opposite, but arm comes straight out. Right arm is straight away from you. Left hand comes underneath the left shoulder. And start to roll onto that right shoulder. So for me, I like to have something underneath my head. Sometimes I just put my fist there. We're opening up the front of the right shoulder. And a few rounds of breath. Slowly come back to neutral. Pause here. This time the left arm is straight away, so wrist is straight out from the shoulder. Right hand comes underneath the right shoulder. Start to roll it open so it feels better for me to pick this right foot up, take it over. Make a little fist for your head to rest on, feels better to me. One more round of breath. Slowly come back to neutral. Hands come underneath the chest, take it back. We'll find embryo pose, so just a more restorative version of child. So legs come together. Hands can rest by the sides, drop the head down. Slowly start to rise up. Drop back to the bum, and we'll find our way all the way back to our backs. Melt the spine down. Finding our figure 4 here, cross right ankle over left knee. And pull the left knee in, wrap around. Check in with the breath. Roll out the ankles and the feet. And if you'd like, find a little bit of movement here. So just slowly rocking gently side to side with this shape. Maybe just going over a few inches each way. Or several centimeters for my European friends that watch. And settle into stillness. Slowly start to unwind. Take some time here to bicycle the legs out a little bit more. Option 2, take the hands behind the head, pick the shoulders up, and find a little bit of work in the core here. And then opposite elbow, opposite knee. Awesome, and then release back down. We'll do the other side. Left ankle over right knee. Pull this shape in towards the body, unless you already feel a lot of sensation with just the sole of the right foot on the ground. And maybe you start to find that tiny bit of movement side to side. Just a gentle rock. And settle into neutral. Slowly start to unwind. Bicycle the legs out. An option to find that additional core work. Lift the shoulders away. Find your bicycles. And then option to find opposite elbow, opposite knee, and touch about 4 or 5 times each way. And release back down. Take soles of the feet together. Let knees fall wide. Find that bound angle. Slowly let the knees come back into center. Press the knees into the mat. We'll work our way into bridge pose. Hands press firmly into the mat, fingertips working towards the heels. Press the feet and the hands in, peel the hips away, one vertebra at a time, lifting, lengthening. And slowly release. Take that 2 more times. Option to find the hands as well at the same time. So as you peel the vertebra away, start to lift the hands. And eventually letting the hands touch overhead and slowly lowering it back down. One more time like that. Inhale, reach. And slowly releasing back down. Walk the soles of the feet as wide as the mat. Let the knees fall in. And allow both knees to fall to the right. Option, if this feels like a lot in the knees or the hips, you can stack the legs and let them fall. If you want a little more, you can take the right heel and I'll use it to pull the left knee down just a little. Be gentle if this feels too deep. Find a more traditional version of your twist. And slowly come back to center. Windshield wiper the knees. We'll take it to the other side. So knees drop to the left. Option to take that left ankle on top of the right knee. Deepen the twist. Slowly return to center. Make some gentle movements. Option for happy baby as a final inversion, or take another inversion of your choice. Shoulder stand, plow. One more inhale. Let it go. Take any other movements that you might need to round out your practice. Otherwise, starting to find your way into Shavasana, your final resting pose. Same as where we started our class together. Let everything fall heavy. Take rest. Slowly beginning to make some movements with fingers and toes. Bring some awareness back to the breath. Slowly, gradually making larger movements and eventually finding yourself over to one side. And taking a moment here to find gratitude for the time that you took for your practice. The time that you took to do something nice for your body and your mind. Maybe in this case to try something new with our yin portion of the practice. Reminding yourself that you are enough just as you are right now. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. No changes necessary. No apologies needed. Taking a sense of gratitude, this feeling of being enough with you through the rest of your day and your week. And slowly coming up to a comfortable seat. Allowing the eyes to be heavy or closed. Take a few rounds of cleansing breaths together. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, let it go. Drag the hands down to heart. 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, let it go. Last time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, side out. The hands come to heart. Connect the knuckles of the thumbs to the chest, symbolizing the connection of our body to our breath. It's truly my honor to guide you through your practice this morning. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste.